Yeah, boy.
Let's create the most broken outward build. Now, what actually makes a build broken? In my mind, it's a build that allows you to get outside the parameters of the game. In this case, we have access to almost everything you could want. High impact, high physical damage, and high elemental damage. You can run forever and your stats are infinite because of course we're gonna grab Bloodlust. This was originally going to be another theme build, but then I actually used it and couldn't stop using it. So here is my most broken build in Outward Definitive Edition. To start off, we'll need to take Warrior Monk, Mercenary, and Hex Mage for our skill trees. Warrior Monk offers us more stamina, which we will need in combat. It also offers Master of Motion, which boosts our defense to all elements by a good amount. We want to take Counter-Strike at the top here because it will be the most useful to us. Mercenary offers us more speed and infinite stamina when running. That's about it. We'll be using a pistol, so grab Blood Bullet, but it's not really going to be used hardly at all. No, we want to grab the Iron Shot, and it's literally OP when used in a cannon pistol. After taking Mercenary one too many times, that infinite stamina while running gets hard to avoid, so this is a pretty fun one to have. Then lastly, we have the Hex Mage skill tree, which we take only for the breakthrough Bloodlust. Not a single other skill here helps us, but if you want broken, you need Bloodlust. It completely changes the game by getting rid of burnt stats and granting you mana and health back on kills. For our armor, we'll need some interesting gear. Starting with the Orichalcum helmet, get your hands on a black plate helmet and place it into a legacy chest. It will transform into the Orichalcum helmet, which has much better stats and matches our set. This thing has some decent defense and doesn't have bad negative stats either. Enchant it with Primal Wind, and now we're getting somewhere. This grants plus 10% more ethereal damage and plus 10% more impact. I'll talk about why this is so good later, but just know it's awesome for an enchant, and it's going to make this build really fun. Your chestplate and boots will need to be the shock armor. Now, both of these are arena boss armors, which means you need to combine the items on screen to craft them. Not an easy feat, no, but made much easier by unique enemies dropping the materials in Definitive Edition. Make a set and legacy chest it to be sure that you get both for this run. It has some physical defense, but the other stats are crazy. Really high lightning resistance, crazy good impact resistance, and each piece worn provides a 10% impact bonus, which essentially means you can block forever, and then instantly put enemies on their butts. On top of this, it matches our helmet very well and gives us a nice, slim warrior. Weapons are an extremely important part of this build. First, we grab a cannon pistol because with Iron Shot, which only takes iron scraps instead of bullets, you inflict both pain and confusion on a single enemy, making them 25% weaker to physical damage and knocking them over very quickly. Grab this in Levant and just stock up on iron scraps by dismantling any iron weapons you find. Then, we need Grigmerk Karmerk, or more likely called the Trog Boss Spear. This will require arena boss items as well, which makes this build at least a second playthrough for sure. But, despite the weird name, this thing is way better than you might think. It deals an incredible amount of physical damage while also dealing 10 ethereal damage. With our helmet and the ethereal varnish, you have two really high types of damage in every hit. On top of this, the spear is really fast with a 1.1 attack speed, and spears are already broken due to their reach anyway. With a longer spear like this one, you can hit opponents so far away from you that they can't even attack you while you poke them. Switch in and out of the special attack to both gain more reach and step back safely out of harm's way. Spears are highly underutilized by Outward players, as they are the safest melee weapon to play with. And this is one of the best ones you'll find. Now, its only problem is that the impact is not super high. However, we have a much larger impact bonus from our armor, and inflicting confusion with the cannon pistol means we still knock over enemies in about 2 hits. Obviously, you can't have a pistol and spear equipped at the same time due to a spear being two-handed. But with our low amount of skills, you can hotbar both to just shoot and then swap to melee. I found it to be extremely easy to swap during combat if you were worried about this. For mana, you only need to take 1 point. The only reason to use mana here is to buff with a boon, and mana regen from foods or simply mana potions will keep this up all the time. With Hexmage, you also gain back more after kills, so 1 point feels pretty balanced. Let's keep things simple for the faction quest. Take Heroic Kingdom for 15% more damage. This buffs both physical and elemental. Since our weapon does both, we see a large increase in damage when hitting enemies. I ran with Zorn's Hunting Backpack because with Mercenary it offers broken stamina. run forever, and never stop for breaks on the road. But do take it off in combat. I would also recommend the luxury tent as it decreases stamina costs by 20%. We have infinite stamina while running, yes, but when fighting, not so much. If you have plenty, don't worry, but it will run dry because skills require quite a bit of stamina to use. But use this tent and that slight problem is long gone. So, how do we go about combat with this build? Easy. Make sure your pistol and spear are in your pocket at all times. Put a spirit varnish on your spear and then switch to the pistol. Load the pistol with an iron scrap. Walk up to an enemy and shoot them. Immediately switch over to your spear. This opponent is now weak to physical damage and has less stability. Wait for the enemy to get back up and then use brace as they attack you. This grants the discipline boon, upping your physical damage, and also destabilizes enemies by 50%. Follow up with attacks and they will fall over every time. If they are still alive, which is unlikely, you can use sweep kick to instantly knock them down over and over, or counter strike to block any attack and deal high damage. With the mist boon and enrage boon on during this, you completely break combat. Nothing can even stand up, and your damage is so high, fights will be over in seconds. Since you also have the Simeon's Gambit skill spears get, you have access to another counter which blocks incoming damage and sends out more. I really can't do this build justice by simply talking about it. I was melting the game with hardly any effort. Getting my stats back after kills, hitting enemies from 6 feet away, and abusing sweep kick to make opponents look silly. Honestly, had a great time with this one. One thing you don't want to do is fight multiple enemies at one time. The major weakness of any spear is that they poke rather than swing, which means hitting more than one monster at a time is rare at best. This is where that long reach comes in again. Just poke and run until one enemy's down and then move in on the other. The cannon pistol is also a huge ally here because it instantly weakens one of the opponents, giving you an edge and making the fight take much less time. I would also recommend you enchant the spear with Mole Pig's Eye for more ethereal damage and the armor with Aegis for more physical defense. I was pretty surprised how tanky I was to physical damage here, and I did not enchant the shock armor. Also, my weapon wasn't enchanted, so anything you watch me fight in this video would also have taken less time with that. In the end, this feels like my most broken outward build to date. It has access to so many broken things like cannon pistol, confusion, long reach of spears, high impact, blocking forever, and as always, ridiculous stamina. Also, becoming the king of all trogs has a nice ring to it, you know? Let me know what you think of this build down in the comments, and I'll catch you next time.